Good evening. Thank you for taking part of your time to take it with me. So spell your first and last name and state your job title.
My name is Anissa, Anissa Ryland, Ryland, and I'm the Executive Director for the Johnson Center for Child Health and Development.
That's an excellent career. I'm very interested to learn about it, so I have some questions for you.
Okay.
First of all, I just wanted to know, as Executive Director of such a big and professional Center for Child Development, what are your typical responsibilities? What is your job in the workplace?
Well, I do a little bit of everything. My job is mainly to make sure that everybody else on my staff have the tools and resources necessary to do their job. So I do a lot of fundraising.
Mm-hmm.
I do a lot of administrative work, human resources, things like that. Pretty much anything that needs to be done. I do a lot of staff training.
Mm-hmm. Can you give us some examples of some fundraising that you may?
Sure. We do several events throughout the year. Sometimes the intention is to raise money. Sometimes it's just to have community outreach events.
Mm-hmm.
We do webinars online that are training for teachers, other professionals, as well as parents and people who may have developmental disorders. I do outreach with our board of directors and write grants to try and raise funds for the organization.
Very cool. I've not heard prior knowledge about webinars, nor have I taken part of one, but if I look into it, I think it'll be very interesting.
It's a great tool.
Now, going into the workplace, what's the best part about just taking everyday life to be who you are?
I think the best part of my job is probably working with the kids that we serve and their families, seeing kids learn and get the new tools they need to be successful and productive, and the families getting the tools they need to support their children. I think just seeing the everyday success stories is the best part of my job.
Now, I know when you work sometimes things could be a little bit difficult. What's the hardest part? I know with many people, the hardest part's like knowing when difficult situations arise and how to react. Share one thing that you may have that.
I think the hardest part of my job is that we work with a population that is stressed, often either emotionally or financially. Families are working really hard to give their kids the resources they need, and they may or may not have found the right thing to do, and they're eager to make sure that their children are okay. And so the hardest part is just helping families get what they need and doing it in a way that supports them and make sure that they know that we're on their side. Sometimes they're so used to fighting the world for everything that they need that they have to be reminded they don't have to fight everyone, that we're on their side and we're working hard to help them.
Yeah, that can be hard sometimes, especially when kids aren't used to, this sort of thing of being adjusted to new things every day. And I think with your work, I think we're trying our hardest to make it easier for people to get through it. Now, some people I know have one experience that either defines who they are or helps make their company successful. What is yours?
I think the thing that defines us in terms of our work and me is that most of us that work there have a personal connection to the community, whether we have people that work for us who have developmental disorders, or parents who have children with developmental disorders. So I think understanding it from a personal perspective is what makes us different and successful, because we've never asked anyone to do anything that we haven't done ourselves, and understand how hard it is or what it takes. And so I think that gives a little bit more legitimacy and trust that they can put in what we're asking them to do.
Now, those personal connections, when they're first formed, is it easy to stay with, the people that you want to reach out to and help, or does it take a little bit of work? Does it take a little bit of patience? Does it take a little bit of time? Does it take a little bit of, emotional stress?
Of course. I think anytime you're doing a job that works with the community at all, whatever community that is, working with people, it can be challenging, it can be stressful. But I think that, we all get reinforcement along the way. We get to see small and big successes, and that's what keeps us going.
Well, I mean, with everyday people, success is our goal. Some people can get it, some people can think they can't, but I think your ideas are very philosophical, and I think that's a good, promising start. Now, going back to like the basic roots of like the office, what's a typical day look like? I know for some jobs it's mostly boring. It's just like, hand out papers, do emails, print out new information. What is your idea of a typical workday at the Jensen Center?
Well, every day is different. So there are some days that we have lots of kids and families in the office, and we're all working hard to serve them. We serve a lot of families that don't live close by. About 60% of the patients we serve live out of state. So there are some days that there's a lot of Skype and online appointments that are happening, so there may be less people in the office, more happening electronically. Sometimes we have camps. We do camps for kids, for siblings, for families, so there might be people there for that. Sometimes we have trainings and teachers coming in. So every day is a little bit different, but most days, we have different staff members meeting and coming up with new projects and programs. We have online presentations going on. So my day may be anything from something a little more boring like accounting or taking care of human resource or personnel responsibilities, and some days I might be doing a webinar or doing a training with a group of 20 people. So every day is different. Today I helped fix a roof leak, so sometimes it's more practical.
I understand. Now, I've heard that the Johnson Center is not only a center for child development, you also have a program that involves acquiring the medicines you need to keep people healthy. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we have a nutrition and medical clinic that goes along with that. So there's a unique set of needs that people with autism and related development disorders have in terms of healthcare. Everything from the environment they come into, making that a safe space that is more customized to their needs, to dealing with the health issues and comorbid or concurrent conditions that might occur, whether those are seizure disorders, feeding disorders, things like that. So we have a knowledgeable staff that helps meet the unique health needs of that population.
Now, feeding disorders, how do you treat people, and especially younger kids who are struggling to eat? How do you treat those kids? Do you give them special diets? Do you send them to food camps? What do you guys do?
It really depends on the reason. First, we do a medical evaluation to make sure there's not a physical reason they're not eating more or eating better. If there's no physical reasons, then we do educational and behavioral sessions with them to introduce them to new foods, to mixed textures, to things like that. Sometimes the issue is they may have sensory issues. They don't want to eat certain textures or certain foods. So we desensitize to that. We use a lot of positive reinforcement to encourage them to try new things, and then parent training to help educate the parents how to do that as well.
Wow, man, that is a lot for me to handle, but I can understand where you're coming from. Now, I know this place is a lot of work, but also there's like a fun aspect. There's something that people can just like let their minds wander. I know you have a lot of ways for kids to let their minds wander sometimes, but what's the best thing about having kids come to this place where you can not only become a better person, but you can just have more fun?
Well, we encourage kids to be creative and to use their imaginations and to tap into what interests them. So a lot of the work that we do, any work should be fun when you're a kid. When it comes to these kinds of therapies, we want them to learn, but we also want them to enjoy learning and enjoy what they're doing. And so we do spend a lot of time figuring out what kids are interested in and using those interests to help them acquire the skills that they need to be successful.
When I was a kid, I went through something similar, but it wasn't as complex as what you guys would offer in this day of modern technology with all the new ways kids can become successful. And I feel like with the Johnson Center, you guys are striving for just that, for kids to not only overcome adversity, but to be successful, be creative, and just enjoy life as it happens.
Exactly. We want everyone to fulfill their potential and be happy.
It's like you climbed it to the top of the mountain. So given that, what is the one thing you would say that the Johnson Center has that makes these kids want to be successful? What's that one thing that you guys always seem to strive for?
I think the one thing that would define what makes us successful is individualization. There's not a one-size-fits-all program or treatment or intervention or support that would apply to everyone. We look at each person and each family individually and provide what they need, not a one-size-fits-all. It's tailored to exactly what they need.
Pretty cool.
Thank you.
And I hate to keep you for so long, but I just want to send you off with this last question because some people struggle with words on how to answer this question because they may not have the exact answers they have that might help, or they just don't feel the actual, you know what I mean? They don't have the experience necessary to give an accurate and thoughtful answer. If you have any advice for any moms, ladies out there who want to see their kids grow, want to see their kids be successful, but they have no idea how to handle it, what's the one thing for people who are wanting to work in the career of child development?
Well, I think the one thing to remember is that kind of the same thing. Every child is different, but every child can learn, and every child will grow and develop. So you need to be attuned to that one child to understand what motivates them, what they enjoy, what they don't like, and use that as your guide in helping them gain skills and interests and hobbies and friends. You know, we all tend to, as people, gravitate toward people who enjoy the things we enjoy and want to do the things we do. And our kids are no different. We just need to figure out what it is they enjoy and what it is that motivates them, and then help them get into that, and they'll continue to grow and do well.
Wow, that's some good advice. Well, I appreciate your time. I want to say your program is a very successful one, and I think as you go further and further along, I think more generations of parents will soon realize, hey, if I can get these kids to a place where they can become successful, I can help other kids do the same. And I think the Johnson Center, when it opened a few years back, strive to do just that. And I'm proud of it.
Thank you.
Once again, I am pleased to have spent a few minutes of your evening, and I wish you the best of luck in your future.
Thank you very much.
Take care.